Hi, welcome to Yoga Below the Belt, where every posture is cued with the health of your pelvic floor in mind. I'm Tracy, and today's class is entirely a standing series, and we'll work on opening up the hips, a little bit of extra work to help strengthen the pelvic floor, and exercise your whole body. A few props, totally optional. If you like it for triangle and for reaching down postures, if you're more flexible than I am, you might want to grab a block or two. You can also grab a chair, or for me, I'll demonstrate using the end of the bedpost. And that's about it. So pause the video, grab your gear, and we'll get started. All right, as always, let's start by grounding the feet into the floor, feet hip distance apart, and relaxing the body. I invite you to close your eyes if that's okay for you. Roll the shoulders back and down, and deepen your breath. Really focus on the sound of your breathing. On the next inhale, feel your clavicle and the top of your chest rise up. On the next inhale, focus on expanding the rib cage with your nice deep breath. And on this third deep inhale, push the air all the way into the belly, expanding your belly button outward and stretching all those yummy muscles of the pelvic floor. And we'll stay here for 3 more deep breaths. In and out. I invite you to take a moment and check in with the body. Notice where any muscles might be tight and need a little extra stretching. Recognize your busy day. Recognize the day to come. And bring your focus at last internally as you bring your palms together and open your eyes. Welcome to practice. Okay, first posture you've seen in many of my other classes. You can grab a block if you want for Tadasana. So I invite you to put the block between the inner thighs or between the calves if that's more comfortable. If you don't have a block available or don't want to use one, that's fine too. Just make sure that the feet stay hip distance apart, knees are nice and soft. If you practice Ujjayi breath, I invite you to introduce it into our first posture today, meaning you're inhaling and exhaling through the nose, constricting the back of the throat, and really focusing on expanding the belly. All right, let's take 2 deep breaths. Ujjayi or not, it's your preference. Inhaling. Long exhale. Inhale again. Long exhale. On the next inhale, I invite you to raise the arms up, looking up if that's comfortable for you. And exhale the arms down to the sides. We'll inhale the arms up, looking up, space between the shoulders and the ears. And exhale. Inhale one more time, raising the arms all the way up. And we'll stay here for a count of 6 breaths. Don't arch the back, nice and straight. One more inhale. And on the exhale, I invite you to release the arms down. Maybe bring your fingertips to your shoulders and bring some circles backwards. Just loosening up those muscles in the upper body. And switch directions for your circles. And one more. We'll release the arms down. Shake it out if you need to. And we will transition into triangle pose. If you're more flexible than your teacher, you might want to have a block available to reach down for. And I invite everyone to step the right foot out to the right. Right foot faces the short edge of the mat. Left foot's 45 degrees. And really focus on bringing those hips forward. So the hips are not facing forward as in your right foot, but facing the long edge of the mat. Your first option today will be to raise the arms or keep them at your hips, whatever works. Keeping the hips in position, you'll lean forward and come down. If this is too much, you can just stay here, and that's fine. If you have more flexibility, you can reach down for the block, but if your shoulder, left shoulder, comes forward, that's too far for you. The idea is your back, your shoulder, your butte should all be flat against a wall, nice and straight. All right, pick what option works best for your body today as we inhale nice and tall. And we will exhale into whatever version of triangle posture works for you today. Gaze can either be up or down the arm at the floor. And constantly bring the hips forward to make sure that the back is in line. And we'll stay here for 6 breaths. One more inhale with me. On the exhale, bring your gaze toward the right arm on the floor as you bring the body up. And now I invite you to rotate on the heels to the other side. If you're flexible in using a block to help support, you can move the block now. And again, everyone, focus on bringing those hips in line with the long edge of your mat. Knees are nice and soft. We'll inhale together nice and tall through the spine. And exhale into your version of triangle pose. You don't need to go super far. Just make sure the back is straight. Right shoulder is constantly pulling toward the wall behind you. And we'll stay here for 6 more breaths. One more inhale here. Deepen the stretch a little more if you want to. On the exhale, bring your gaze toward the floor on the left and bring the arms back up, standing tall and stepping the feet gently together. All right, the next posture will be pyramid pose, which we're going to end up changing into a pyramid twist. So in pyramid, the right foot steps forward, the left foot's back, and the feet are hip distance apart. So like we were before, you had the heels in line. That's not what we're doing here. Facing forward, and the hands can either be at the hips or behind you. Nice soft knees as you constantly bring the tailbone toward the back of the head, leaning forward until you feel a nice stretch in that right hamstring. So you can see my tailbone's constantly pulling toward the back of the head, and I'm nice and straight with the body. If you need to, you can use your chair at this point, leaning forward to help offer some support. But the idea here is that the back stays nice and straight and your tailbone's not tucking underneath, because that's not going to do your pelvic floor any favors. So you constantly want that tailbone pulling out. So we'll end up staying here for 6 breaths. And then you can either press your forearm in front of you, keeping the hips forward, and twist to the right, making sure the hips are facing the same direction. They're not twisting with you. Your other option is without using the support. You would be down in your version of pyramid, and then the left hand comes to the right hip. Hip still faces forward as the upper body twists. All right, I hope that's good. Hope that makes sense. And we'll get started. So have everybody right foot forward, left foot back, hip distance apart for the feet. Check in with the hips, make sure they're constantly pulling forward. And we'll inhale nice and tall. And exhale forward with or without your prop into your version of pyramid. Nice straight back. And we'll be here for 6 deep breaths. Relax the neck. I invite you to inhale one more deep breath. And on the exhale, keep the hips and the legs where they are as you twist only the upper body toward the right. And again, we'll be here for 6 more breaths. One more inhale with me. Exhale, bring the upper body back forward. And we'll stand back up. And now we'll switch sides. With or without the prop, I invite you to step the left foot forward, the right foot back. Feet hip distance apart. Check in with those hips constantly. I know you're tired of hearing about it. Super important for pelvic floor concerns that you're aligned. We'll inhale together nice and tall through the spine. Exhale, leaning down onto your prop or without a prop until you feel that nice hamstring stretch on the left. Really important here, right hip comes forward, left hip comes back. And we'll stay here for 6 breaths, nice straight back. One more deep inhale. And on the exhale, maintain the position of the legs and the hips as your right hand reaches around to the left and for an upper body twist. One more inhale. Exhale, bring the upper body back facing forward, bringing the body back up, and step the feet together. Now that the hips are warmed up and the legs are warmed up, I would invite you to join me if you want to do a little bit of extra strengthening for those pelvic floor muscles for our forward fold. So what we'll end up doing, with or without a chair, I'll show you without first. We'll have the feet about 3.5 feet apart, not very far. Knees are soft, tailbone constantly pulls back as you lean forward with a nice straight back. Even if you are flexible enough to reach down to the floor, I would invite you to try and just stay roughly 90 degrees, or 45 degrees is probably closer for me, with the body. Remember, tailbone's constantly pulling toward the back of the head. Nice straight back. Now in this posture, I would invite you to inhale, filling the air, the belly with air. And on the exhale, gently lift the perineum as the air exits through the bottom of the belly first and comes out. So we inhale, relax all the muscles, and then you exhale, lifting the perineum as you're breathing out bottom of the muscle first. If you have a prop, a chair, or the end of a bed like I do, it will give you a little more support so you can step further back, really focus on lifting the tailbone without arching the back too much. should be close to straight. And this might make it a little more accessible for you for lifting the perineum. Now remember, you're not squeezing your booty, you're not squeezing the inner thighs, you're just working on the perineum lift. All right, so I invite you to find whatever version of a forward fold works best for you today. And we'll do this for 6 breaths, remembering that we relax all of those muscles, completely relaxed with the inhale. And on the exhale is when you do your lift. If you're not into lifting the perineum, or if you haven't used a mirror yet to make sure that you're not pushing out instead of pulling up, that's fine. Then in that case, just work on normal breathing. Don't try and do the lifts because I don't want you to get hurt. All right, so we'll start nice and tall, deep inhale. And on the exhale, don't lift anything yet. We're going to stick the tailbone out with the booty, nice straight back, roughly 90 degrees. Remember, you can bend the knees as much as you need to. Now we'll inhale, fill the belly all the way down to the pelvic floor. Relax all the muscles. And on the exhale, start to lift the pelvic floor, the perineum, as you exhale through the bottom of the belly first. Inhale, relax. Exhale, gently pull upward. If you need a little more, you can shift your weight more toward the front of the feet. Still keep the back nice and straight. And we'll do 4 more sets. Inhale, fill the belly, relax all the muscles. Exhale, lift the perineum. Inhale, relax all those yummy muscles. And exhale, lift. 2 more. One more inhale. This time on the exhale, support the pelvic floor as you bring your body completely upright to stand. You're doing great. Now the next set, I do encourage you to have a prop, but if you don't, that's fine. We're just going to do a leg lift. The idea is the left leg will be nice and solid. The right leg will raise up, and you can use a strap to help support. And you want to make sure that the leg is 90 degrees. Your other option is to put that right leg on some sort of support. And if it's a little higher than 90, that's fine. Not ideal, but it'll work. And here we're going to gently lean forward if you have a prop. Back is nice and tall. Hands either on the leg, helping with support, or in front of you. Now here, important points for the pelvic floor. Leg is at 90 degrees, hips constantly pulling forward, and you can actually engage your left glute, and it'll help strengthen the walls of the pelvic floor without needing to do any squeezes or lifts. So find what works best for you for this leg lift. We'll inhale into position. Exhale, getting nice and relaxed. And we'll just stand here nice and tall. 6 deep Ujjayi breaths. And squeeze your butt cheeks. And slightly tuck the tail under. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll release. And switch sides. So now the weight shifts to the right. You can either come at 90 degrees and stay here, or you can use a prop to help you bring this into more of a lunge situation. And everybody should be working on tightening the booty and being nice and tall through the spine. Rest your hands at your sides or on your leg. And we'll stay here for 6 deep Ujjayi breaths. Fill that belly with every inhale. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll release. As we transition into goddess pose. Now in goddess pose, the feet will be spread out. Toes are about 45 degrees. You don't want to be forward this time like we were with the forward fold. If your knees are bothering you, you're going to stay here. Nice soft knees, pressing the heels into the ground away from you, like you're trying to rip the center of your mat. If you're okay with a lunge, the tailbone comes back, stick out the booty, nice straight spine as you come into a lunge. Now again, if you want, you can lift the perineum on the exhale. And we're going to do a little bit of a flow here. So the hands will start in the center. And again, if you're standing tall, this is going to work just great too. The inhale will be up. The exhale, if you want, you can gently lift the perineum as you come back down with the arms. Inhale, relax all the muscles of the pelvic floor as the hands come back, pulling the chest up. The back of the shoulder blades come toward one another. And then we release forward. We are going to do 6 sets. Don't overdo it. If you're not used to doing the perineum lifts, you might skip this. Not the whole exercise, but just skip the lifts. All right, come into position with the legs, nice and supported, nice and tall. Make sure the tailbone's constantly pulling out if you're coming down into a squat. Hands forward about 4 inches apart for the palms. As we inhale, we'll raise the arms up, looking up if it's comfortable for your neck. Exhale, gently lift the perineum as the arms come down. Inhale, release the muscles. Arms come back, belly's filled with air. Exhale, lift those muscles again, arms come forward. We'll do 3 more sets. Inhale, the arms up. Exhale, gentle lift of the perineum. Inhale, super important, you relax all those muscles. Exhale, forward. We'll do 1 more set with lifts. Inhale, looking up. Exhale, arms come down, slightly lift the perineum. Inhale, the arms come out, relax the pelvic floor. This is your last squeeze. You're going to bring the arms forward, lifting the pelvic floor. And relax. So let's just stay here and we'll do two or 3 lifts again. Inhale, fill the belly. Exhale through the lower belly first as you lift the perineum. Inhale, release all those muscles. 1 more. Exhale through the lower belly first. Lift. And inhale, relax all the muscles. Release the pelvic floor. And we'll do normal breaths here for 2 more breaths. Inhaling. Exhaling. 1 more, you've got this. Nice inhale. And after the exhale, we'll release. You can bring the feet together. And now we will transition to tree pose. We're not doing any more lifts. That was enough. But I do want you to shift your weight to the left leg. Focus on keeping the hips pointed forward as you either lift the heel and rotate the knee, or you can bring the leg to the bring your right foot, inner foot, to the lower leg. Or you can bring that knee all the way up so that your foot rests on the inner thigh. Doesn't matter where your leg is, but it does matter that as you're bringing that right knee to the right, the hips are pointed forward. So you'll feel like you're moving your hips to the left as the knee goes to the right. Without even trying, just standing here like this, I definitely feel my pelvic floor muscles engage, which is what we want. All right, pick what works best for you. We'll inhale nice and tall, and exhale, lifting the knee and coming into your version of tree posture today. Don't press on the knee. Engage your left booty and constantly forward with the hips. Hands can be wherever you want them, hips, heart center, or up. Pick your poison, find what works best for you, and we'll stay here for 6 breaths. Let's do one more inhale together. Exhale, release that leg, knee comes forward and then drops down. And shake it out. You know what we're doing. We're moving on to the next side, so I invite you to shift your weight to the right. We'll inhale nice and tall. And exhale, lift that left leg, placing it where you want as the hips are constantly forward, left leg is constantly pulling to the left. And we'll stay here for 6 deep Ujjayi breaths. Let's take one more inhale together. Exhale, bring that left knee forward and then drop the leg down. And shake it out if you need to. All right, we have one more set of postures today. We will come into Warrior One. So the right leg steps forward, the left leg steps back, hips are constantly pointed forward. The way this will work, we will come into the lunge or stay here if your knees are bothering you, with the arms up or at the hip, not arching the back, but nice and tall. We will stay here for our 6 breaths, and then we'll come into Humble Warrior, which means the hands will clasp behind the back, constantly pulling down so that your shoulders are definitely away from your ears, and then we lean forward. So in this posture, the right hip is constantly pulling back as the left hip is constantly pushing forward. And again, make sure that the knee does not extend past the toes. I know you've heard this in many of my classes. The knee should stay above the ankle. All right, remember, we'll be 6 breaths in standard Warrior One, 6 breaths in Warrior, and then we'll switch sides. All right, align the hips. Make sure the feet are hip distance apart. Relax all your muscles. As we inhale, the arms up if you're lifting your arms. Exhale into the lunge if you're lunging. And everybody super focused on bringing the left hip forward, right hip back. And we'll be here for 6 breaths. One more inhale. On the exhale, keep the hips and the legs where they are as you clasp your hands behind your back, pulling the arms down and away from the body. We'll inhale nice and tall through the spine. Exhale, nice straight back, hips still pointed forward as we come down into humble warrior. Relax the neck. Release the tension in your toes if you're gripping a little too hard. And we'll stay here for 6 breaths. Nice inhale. Long exhale as you engage the pelvic floor, standing back upright. Step the feet together and we'll switch sides. So this time I invite you to have the left leg forward, right leg back. We'll get into it quicker this time. Make sure the hips face forward and the feet are hip distance apart. We'll inhale nice and tall through the spine. And exhale into your version of warrior 1. And we'll be here for 6 breaths. One more inhale. On the exhale, release the arms down behind the back, pulling the shoulder blades down, arms away from your booty as we inhale nice and tall through the spine. And exhale, coming forward, hips remain forward, neck is relaxed. We'll stay here for 6 breaths in humble warrior. One more inhale. And on the exhale, stand back upright, release the body, step the feet together. Shake out those hands and legs if you need to. Oh, and I lied. We should do a little bit of a twist before we close for today. I invite you to stand again with the feet hip distance apart. Hips constantly point forward as you bring the upper body to the right. Nice and tall through the spine. We'll be here for 6 breaths. One more inhale. The exhale will release forward. Inhale nice and tall, facing front. And exhale will bring the body, upper body only, toward the left in a twist. Remember, hips constantly point forward, and we'll be here for 6 breaths. One more inhale together. On the exhale, release. And I invite you to drop out of your Ujjayi breath, feet still hip distance apart. As you bring your shoulders back to relax. Our final relaxation today, you did such a great job. I invite you to drop out of your Ujjayi breath. Substitute it for nice deep breathing. Close your eyes if you're comfortable with it. You could even sit on the ground if you prefer. I know I have students that are my regulars that do not relax well standing, and that's okay. We did a lot of work sneakily with the hips and definitely some strengthening of the pelvic floor. So as you inhale, I really want you to focus on your left hip point. And with the next exhale, relax that left hip downward toward the floor. Switch your attention to the right side of the body, inhaling toward that right hip. And exhale, releasing all that right hip downward toward the floor. Fill the belly again. Really fill the belly so that you feel the air come down to the pelvic floor. And with the exhale, relax all those yummy muscles downward. And we'll stay here with some silent breathing for a few more moments. Relaxing all the tension in the legs and the feet, the hips, the back. Relaxing the shoulders down and even relaxing the muscles of the face. I won't guide you through the whole thing. It's entirely up to you to focus on what needs the most attention today. So I invite you to deepen your breath, and we'll stay here for about 8 more breaths. I invite you to place your hands on your belly, one on your lower abdomen and the other over your belly button. Continue your deep breathing, and with every inhale, feel the belly move outward with your hands. Feel how the body has relaxed. And I hope you can carry this feeling through for however long the rest of your day may be. Thank you for joining me today and for welcoming me in on your journey to helping improve your pelvic floor. I hope you keep up with it, and I hope to see you again tomorrow. Thanks again for coming. Namaste.